Cars. The best way to go from point A to point B. Throughout their entire history, there were a lot of changes and tweaks made for the best and most comfortable experience whilst driving. But today, let's forget about the cars that we have at this moment and take a look at the beautiful vintages that still grab people's attention. What better way to go back in time than to play a game set in the 1930s? I am of course talking about Mafia, the remake. There will be spoilers for the story of the game, so make sure you play it. Well then, all that aside, I bring you a top 10 list of Mafia 1 cars, in no particular order, that exist in real life and some facts about them. Number 10. The Bolt Ace, or the Ford Model T as it's known in real life, made in 1925, was one of the most influential cars that was very affordable for the middle class and finally gave people a chance to experience car traversal. Looking at the stats, it's easy to see that it wasn't the fastest, but it did the job. Today, these vehicles can be bought from 17 grand up to 75 grand, which is pretty expensive, but it would serve more as a collector's item. This vehicle in the game is given by Ralphie, the family's mechanic, but after the mission, it is promptly disposed of. Number 9. The Schubert 6. Whilst playing, you can definitely see that a lot of cars are rocking this model. For example, the taxis and the police cars. But after 1935, they are replaced by a newer model, the Schubert Lux. This car is based on the Chevrolet Series AE Independence, and was still really affordable and even more spacious compared to the Bolt Ace. Nowadays, this car will cost you up to 62 grand. In the game, this car was pretty much iconic because of its abundance in the streets. Number 8. The Smith V12. First introduced to us in the ordinary routine mission where the asshole tries to get away with the money. Based on the Lincoln K series from the 1932s, it is a much faster and more expensive car, and also it was the first car to use front-wheel drive. Today, this car can be bought for the low price of 150 grand. You kinda start feeling the prices rise up a bit. Number 7. The Celeste Mark V is probably one of my favorite cars. Based on the Mercedes-Benz 500K model, it was definitely more rare to see on the streets because of its hefty price. Today, these beauties can be bought for up to almost $5 million. The price speaks for itself. It was first introduced to us in the Intermezzo 1, being driven by Don Morello. Number 6. Keeping up with the Don cars, Salieri's car, the Lasseter V16 Roadster, is based on the Cadillac V16. It was also quite exclusive, with every chassis being custom finished to order. The price now can be from $500,000 to almost $2 million. The first time you get to drive it is on the Bon Appetit mission, when you have to drive Don Salieri to a restaurant. Number 5. Let's switch things up a bit. Remember the mission A Trip to the Country? There was a huge armored police vehicle, the Bulworth Sentry. At first, I didn't really think it was period accurate, but turns out it kinda is. Based on the 1935 International Harvester C-35 armored truck, it was used by the Federal Reserve for running money and items of value from bank to bank. Today, this truck was sold not long ago for around 40 grand, which is pretty cheap. Number 4. Continuing with the armored vehicles, we have Morello's Eckhart Fletcher, or the Pierce Silver Arrow. In the game, this car is armored and bullets don't seem to faze it, but in real life there is no proof of it being bulletproof. And also, fun fact, there are only 3 in existence. It could cost up to $1.5 million, and it does make sense because of its scarcity. In the game, it is introduced when Salieri's gang are finally ready to gun down Morello. Number 3. Looking for something more aerodynamic? Well, I got the car that should fit you. The Culver Airmaster, or Chrysler Airflow as it's known in real life, it was made to be less susceptible to air resistance, but unfortunately it was ultimately a commercial failure due to the lack of market acceptance and controversial appearance. Nowadays, you could get yourself one of these for around 168 grand. In the game, the car was driven by Tommy to chase down and kill Morello. Number 2. The Berkeley A10, or the Cord A10, the car that this is based on, is the first to implement hidden pop-up headlights. Who wouldn't like these headlights, right? Nowadays, you could get yourself one of these for around almost $500,000. In the game, it is owned by Tommy, who uses it in the final mission, the Death of Art. Number 1. This final car is not from the 1930s, but more like 1950s, because it appears at the very end of the game. It is driven by Vito and Joe, who are from the second game. They arrive to kill Tommy for betraying the Salieri crime family. This is the Smith Murray, or the Ford Thunderbird as it's known in real life. The Thunderbird focused more on driver comfort than speed. Nowadays, this car could cost you up to 60 grand. The significant price decrease compared to the older cars is in fact because this car is just much newer. Well, here you go, a top 10 list of Mafia 1's most important cars, and from which real-life cars they took inspiration. In my opinion, these cars are quite beautiful, they have a lot of history, and they show how far we came in developing cars today. Thanks for watching.